up YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I've never done anything like this, but I wanted to show you guys my custom Green Arrow figure that I literally just made, just got finished kind of doing final touches on it. So I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about, the process and, what I did. So if you guys are interested in kind of making your own, you're more than welcome to do so. So starting out, I'm going to show you guys pictures of what this figure looked like before the paint. Obviously, this is the after, but if you guys aren't familiar or can't spot what this figure is, this is the Gi Joe Classified Zartan figure. The reason why I was looking to make this Green Arrow custom is because, as you guys know, McFarlane pretty much does, DC figures. And I felt that, the scale of McFarlane really isn't my personal preference. It's just too big. It doesn't work with Marvel Legends. And, I've always wished that we have, proper like 1/12 figures. And I know that companies like Revoltev and Mafex, make 1/12 figures, but the thing about that is that they're either too expensive or they're just not going to get around to the figures or the characters that we really want. And, I feel like overall the DC universe really hasn't really gotten the love that it definitely deserves. So, I was kind of figuring like, what figure to make. And what base body. Originally I was looking at, like a Hawkeye, kind of doing like maybe a classic Green Arrow. And then I was kind of looking at the more modern ones, and ultimately those kind of looks didn't really suit what I was looking for. And I was kind of thinking like, okay, we have Marvel Legends, like what other lines do we have that ended up just kind of thinking about the classified line and immediately thought of Zartan. And I gotta let you guys right off the bat, I'm not a G.I. Joe fan like that. I'm a very casual person when it comes to G.I. Joe, so I know Zartan pretty much is like a master of disguise or something like that, but I know that from his look, this, he has a hood, and I was kind of thinking, okay, what character has a hood? So when I saw, looked up Zartan, I was like, okay, this is a perfect, look for a modern Green Arrow with like armor. As you guys can see in the pictures that I did post earlier, they had a little bit of difference. So with Zartan, he had, lines and, his eye makeup, or I guess his eye, whatever the thing around his eyes is really pronounced. So what I did was, let me actually break it out for you guys so you guys can see. I actually used this. This is called a Brush Cleaner and Restorer by Winsor & Newton. I was able to find this at my local Joann's. I believe you might be able to find this at like Hobby Lobby. I'm not sure about Michael's. You could possibly look it up, but it's basically just like a, a brush cleaner. But what you can do is I dipped it as a Q-tip, and I was able to kind of mask off the, the sides of the eyes. And I was able to kind of get that. And if you guys can see right there, there's a little bit of a kind of missed a spot, but actually it's on there too. So it kind of works out. And then for the face, if you guys kind of notice, there's a little bit of a darkness around the mouth. I did take inspiration from the Arrow TV show. The actor Stephen Amell, he pretty much has like a beard, and I know Oliver Queen in the comics is pretty much a blonde haired guy with like a mustache and a goatee, and there was no way in hell that I was going to be able to try to create my own. So I figured giving him some type of like a shadow around, maybe like a 5 o'clock shadow or something like that was kind of giving more homage to, Stephen Amell. If you guys aren't familiar, Arrow's a pretty good show. Definitely the first, second, and the 5th seasons are my favorite. But then when it comes down to the armor accessories, I pretty much just maxed off everything with blue duct tape, and I just painted around it. I used olive green paint, which I'll show you guys. This is the paint that I used. It's literally just called Olive Green by Craft Smart. I was able to get this from my local Michael's. What I did, and shout out to one of my homies on Instagram, Semo Figs, he pretty much kind of, does customs a lot more frequently than I do, or at least when it comes to repaint. So I kind of asked him what he does to kind of make sure that his customs are a little bit more cleaner when it comes to the paint. So he gave me a tip to kind of mix it with water so the paint isn't as thick. And I really like the look of it. This armor originally was black, and I just did one coat of the green. Reason being that was, truth be told, I was just kind of lazy and I didn't want to do a second coat. But also I figured, for Green Arrow, like, it's a little bit more of like a kind of like a, aged look, kind of like battle damage, something like that. So, you could definitely tell that, he's been doing this for a minute, you know what I mean? So I liked it, add to the kind of griminess and ruggedness of the character himself. So I painted the shoulder pads, the arms, the belt. I was going to sand this off, but then honestly I got lazy, and I figured if I just tuck it down, like, it's not really noticeable. I did the back holster, the armor bits on the leg, and then the shin guards, and then little toe cap. The reason why I didn't go full on the pants is because I didn't want to worry about paint rub, truth be told. And I figured, you know what, like, as long as I kind of paint the armor bits, you'll definitely know that that's Green Arrow. You know what I mean? In the comics, he's had, like black pants, so he wasn't completely all green. I did toy around with the idea of that, but ultimately, I just went with the route that was going to be easiest for me. And then I wish that, I could have maybe did something with the torso, but again, similar, I didn't want to have to worry about taking the figure apart or worry about paint rubs. So I just kind of left it at that. And truth be told, it's not really that bothersome to me. This process took me about, I want to say about maybe a couple hours. The hardest part was just kind of waiting for the paint to dry. And if you have this is definitely a lifesaver, because if you make any mistakes, you just dip it in a Q-tip, wipe it off, and you're good to go. So it kind of gives you a little bit more of like you don't have to worry about, messing up and things like that. So all in all, this came out really, really nice. This bow and arrow came with the Marvel Legends Taskmaster figure. What I did was just a very subtle difference. I just painted this was originally orange. I used the paint remover, and I removed the orange bits. Originally, I tried to paint it, just paint over the orange, but it wasn't really sticking. So I just ended up taking off the orange paint and then painting over, and there you go. Now, the last part of the process was to make sure that the paint settles. So let me show you guys what I used to make sure that the paint dries and it doesn't rub off. And this is what I ended up using. I, again, got this at my local Michael's, the same time I got this paint right here. But this is the Krylon UV resistant matte sealer. You want to make sure that you get a matte color. I also do have one that's more for gloss, but please pay attention to make sure that you get the right one. And all this is, you just spray a couple of coats of it. Nothing crazy. It actually dried up pretty quickly, so I'm super stoked on that. And gives me the flexibility to be able to post this thing around. One thing I will say is that with the hood, this thing, when you articulate it, it does kind of go up and things like that. So, I mean, it could be better. I wish it was a little bit more flush, kind of like how it is. But, I thought about maybe toying around with, like, kind of trimming around it, so that way it always kind of stays down. But, ultimately, it's not that big of a deal to me. But yeah, I'm super happy about this. I'm kind of gives me confidence to do other customs out there. And this for to start was super easy. Like, it only took me about a couple hours. So if you guys are looking to kind of get your feet wet and starting a project that maybe isn't really as risky, then I highly recommend you guys trying this out. Again, if you're looking to get this Gi Joe Classified Zartan, he's going for a resale for about 40 bucks. I was able to get him for about 30 bucks on Mercari. So definitely keep an eye out for this figure. I highly recommend it. So with that being said, guys, if you guys have any questions for me or would like to end up, doing this custom, and maybe you had a question about the process that I did, feel free to hit me up. But like I said, I highly recommend it. So with that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. Peace.